Welcome once again to the Ahern video podcast. Today I want to talk about how to motivate employees. A day doesn't go by where I don't get telephone calls or emails from customers and Ahern advisory readers saying, I can't seem to motivate my employees. I can't seem to get them to think outside the box. I can't get them to be creative. I can't. And the first thing that I notice as they're writing these letters, they already have a defeatist attitude. And the thing is this, it's very difficult to get people to change. It's very difficult to tell somebody what you want them to do and then expect that they're going to do it without consistent enforcement and reinforcement. And what I mean by that, I don't mean yelling and I don't mean screaming, but I mean consistent interaction. When somebody doesn't reach their expectations or they don't reach the goals and objectives that they told you they were going to achieve, you can do one of two things. You can fire that individual and start all over, or you can recognize that maybe you need to provide some additional training, some additional thought processes for that individual so they can reach a level that they do not anticipate they're capable of reaching. Most people in general never reach their expectations. That's because they're not challenged. Most people don't recognize that they can accomplish whatever they want if they're willing to make the commitment. Most people would rather give up than face the difficulties of everyday trucking. Does that mean they're bad people? No. But it does mean that you need to create the atmosphere of enthusiasm. You need to create the atmosphere of wanting to excel. And you have to let people know it's okay to feel uncomfortable. It's okay to want to pull back because you feel embarrassed that you may say or do something that makes you look ridiculous. Every day I come into the office after 28 years of owning this business, I'm uncomfortable. Every week I keep changing my salespeople's processes and it drives them nuts. Every day I have meetings with my staff, making them think about things that we could do that we're not doing. Every day I try to think about where I'm going to be next year and 5 years from now. Additionally, it's very important that when you're helping your people reach their expectations, when they reach their expectations, they need to be compensated accordingly. If you give somebody a salary and you give them training for 3 days and then you say, go do your job, and you don't enforce and reinforce, you as the owner or the manager are not doing your job. I tell everybody, and I say this sincerely, we all put our pants on the same way. Maybe we put them on a funny way, but we put in one leg at a time. And if you're in a position of management, or you're in a position of authority, or you're in a position of some kind of financial security, that does not mean you're better than anybody else. If you start believing that you're better than someone else because you have a nicer car or a nicer house or nicer clothes, that's the beginning of your failure. You may be very prosperous now, but I'm going to tell you, if the world centers around you, you will eventually fail or not reach your expectations. You have to recognize that everybody that works for you or works with you may not have your desires, but they all want to be comfortable. They all want to be appreciated. They all want to know that at some point in their life, when they do something over and above, they're going to receive something other than a pat on the back. It's all about enforcement and reinforcement. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you say you're going to do it on a certain time, do it. But the whole idea is you have to change your culture. You have to change the dynamics. You have to make it exciting for people to come in. Now, does it mean that if you spend all of this time and they still don't perform, you should keep them? Of course not. But you just don't terminate someone because they're not where they need to be without spending a lot of time. Have I had to terminate people? Yes. Was it pleasant? No. Did I enjoy it? No. But the bottom line is, at some point in time, people have to fulfill their job responsibilities. The problem is, many times we don't define what those responsibilities are. With salespeople, you need to give them specific goals, specific time frames to accomplish those goals. You need to set up a structure. You need to constantly change the structure, but they need to be disciplined. And if they're not, and they're continually not performing, that tells you that, one, they don't respect themselves, and two, they don't respect the job, and three, they don't respect you. You have to fundamentally try to find out what the reason is. But ultimately, at the end of the day, there are some people that just don't belong in sales. In closing, every department should be a profit center. And every department that reaches or exceeds their goals should be compensated over and above. Business is good now. Doesn't mean it's going to change, but instead of keeping all the wealth yourself, distribute that to the people that are really directly responsible for your success. Until next time, thank you for attending the podcast.